Okay. Uh, so in the last class, we were discussing about dry ice manufacture. So I will start from where I will left, where I had left. So now you can see the PPT. Can you see this PPT?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Oh, so once again, perhaps I can go to the, yeah, just a minute. I will take this diagram. So this is the system which we were discussing actually, and I have told you that there are two circuits in it. There is a high temperature circuit here. This is the low temperature circuit, and in the low temperature circuit we are using CO2, and it's because we have to get the dry ice, and in the high temperature circuit we have the ammonia. The low temperature circuit is comprising of a compound compression system. As you can see here, there are two compressors. One compressor is here, another compressor is here, and we started from a particular point. We started from point number one. One is the CO2 gas actually, which is entering the compressor number one. So when it enters at compressor number one, the temperature is increased, the pressure is increased. So at point number two, the temperature is high and the pressure P2 is also high. The value of P2 is somewhere around, say, 5. Okay, 5 bar. Approximately, I am telling you when we will read the matter, you can see the exact values. But it also depends upon our interpretation, what value would be accurate. Then between 2 to 3, the heat of the CO2 is rejected to the surroundings actually. So there is heat rejection to the surroundings because the temperature T2 would be quite high. Then forget about this point number 10 actually. From here, we are taking the CO2 gas to higher pressure compressor. Here it is once again compressed up to point number 5, and at point number 5 once again we can call it as, let us say, P3 and T5. Okay, P3 and T5. So pressure after the compression in the uh, compressor, high pressure compressor, is now increased to P2. It could be somewhere around, you can say it could be around 20 bar. Okay. And after that, once again we have a heat exchanger here because the temperature T5 will be quite high. So we are ejecting certain amount of the heat to the surroundings. At point number 6, now before I discuss about point number 6, once again to let you understand, this we were talking about the low temperature circuit, which is basically compound compression. It's compound compression. Okay. Then at point number 6, what do we have? We have the CO2 refrigerant at high pressure, pressure of 20 bar, and the temperature is also high, uh, maybe a little bit above the atmospheric temperature, and simultaneously it is a gas. Okay, at point number 6, it's a gas. It's not liquid or vapor. Now to reject reject its heat, we have a cascade condenser here. This is the cascade condenser. So what happens in the cascade condenser? This is basically, you can say, this is the evaporator for ammonia, and evaporator for ammonia, and simultaneously it is also acting as the condenser for CO2 for the low temperature circuit. So what will happen if I consider that this is the CO2 here, okay? So CO2 will be at a higher temperature, means if I consider the evaporator temperature here, this will be, if I say if it is TE for ammonia, then this temperature will be less than the temperature of the CO2 at point number 6. Okay, only then the heat transfer from CO2 will take place to the ammonia. So this heat transfer takes place, and at point number 7 we have the liquid CO2 at a pressure of around 20 bar. All right, and further what happens to ammonia? Ammonia at point number A is now saturated vapor. It goes to the compressor here. This is the ammonia compressor. It is compressed up to point number B, and uh, then it enters the condenser here. This is the cascade condenser, and here this ammonia rejects its heat to the surroundings. Okay, and once again it is passed through an expansion valve here, and once again it is passed through the evaporator. Now we have talked about this earlier in the earlier class also. Now we should focus at point number 7 here actually. Now what happens at point number 7? See, now we have two snow chambers. These are the two snow chambers. Okay, this is one number snow chamber. This is snow chamber number 2. Now let us try to understand what is happening here. So you can see at point number 7 we are coming here, and this valve A is open, valve B is closed, then valve F is open, valve C is open, whereas these two valves D and E, these are actually closed. So you can see the liquid which has been generated at point number 7 is passed through valve A. This is the expansion valve actually. This is the expansion valve. So what happens? Here the pressure is, I have assumed it to be 20 bar. So the expansion takes place in this particular valve A here, and here at in this snow chamber number 2, the liquid CO2 is produced at a pressure of 6 bar. Okay, is it clear? I think it should be clear to you, because now what we are doing, uh, we are only expanding the liquid CO2 at 20 bar to 6 bar pressure, and you know the triple point pressure is 5.18 bar, means at 5.18 bar the CO2 will be in liquid, solid and gaseous phase. All three phases coexist, and this pressure is higher than that. So here the CO2 can exist in two phase only. One is the liquid and other is the vapor. So at in this snow chamber number 2, which is here, the CO2 is existing in liquid plus vapor form. So this is about you can say uh, uh, this snow chamber actually. Hmm? Now what is happening, because this valve C is open, you can see it, this valve C is open. So what will happen, whatever would be the vapor here, that would be sucked here, and it will go to point number 10 here, and whatever is the vapor coming at point number 2 and here, after losing it heat at point number 3, you can see what is the pressure here. Okay, so I can say that this pressure is 6 bar, not 5 bar. I considered it to be 5 bar. Yes, it has to be 6 bar. Okay, so this pressure is 6 bar. So at 6 bar, and this vapor refrigerant CO2, because this valve is open, will be sucked along this line, and here it will mix with point number carbon dioxide coming at from point number 6, point number 3 actually. Okay, so 3 and 10, these will mix and we will get point number 4. So is it clear to you? Anyone? Tell me.
सर 9 to 10 दोबारा बता दो सर, 9 to 10।
9 तो अभी मैं बताता हूँ आपको। देखो एक्चुअली में क्या है, पॉइंट नंबर 8 पे प्रेशर जो है 6 बार रिड्यूस हो गया है, और जो यहाँ पे रेफ्रिजरेंट है CO2, वो दो फॉर्म में है एट पॉइंट नंबर 6। हेयर द CO2 is either in the liquid form or the vapor form at a pressure of 6 bar after the expansion. ठीक है? See, now what will happen actually? In this snow chamber, you can see, if I talk about this particular snow chamber here, this is snow chamber number 2. Now we have liquid carbon dioxide here. Okay, and here we have the vapor CO2. So here we have the liquid and here we have the vapor. So what will happen? See, here we have the valve number 3, valve number C. So automatically, because this valve C is open, you can see it is open here. Okay, so this vapor will be sucked by the compressor number 2. You can see it here in the main diagram. See, this is the compressor 2. It's working actually. So what it is doing? It is sucking the vapor only. So vapor will be sucked up to point number 10. So I can say this is actually point number 8. If this is point number 8, then the vapor at point number 8 is being sucked here, and it is coming out at point number 10. So it is saturated CO2, saturated vapor CO2. Okay, which is at point number 10, and it is mixed with point number 4, point number 3, and the mixing of 3 and 10 gives us point number 4. Is it clear to you?
यस सर।
Okay, now what is happening simultaneously? If you see, the valve B is closed. Okay, we said when we have to produce the solid CO2, we will be using two pressure snow chambers. Okay, so there are two snow chambers. So in the present moment, whatever the diagram is shown to you, for the timing it is shown that valve number A is open. Okay, whereas the valve B is closed. बट इससे पहले जो साइकिल हो रही थी उसमें क्या था, वॉल्व ए बंद था, ये वॉल्व बंद था, और ये वॉल्व ओपन था। तो ऑलरेडी हमने क्या किया था, इस स्नो चैम्बर में, स्नो चैम्बर नंबर 1 में हमने लिक्विड प्रोड्यूस किया था 6 बार पे। ओके, हमने लिक्विड प्रोड्यूस किया था 6 बार पे। अब जब नेक्स्ट साइकिल शुरू हुई तो हमने वॉल्व बी को क्लोज कर दिया और वॉल्व ए को ओपन कर दिया। ठीक है, तो अब जो स्नो चैम्बर नंबर 1 है, इसमें ऑलरेडी जो पॉइंट, सॉरी, इसमें जो रेफ्रिजरेंट है वो ऑलरेडी 6 बार पे अवेलेबल है, CO2 6 बार पे अवेलेबल है, एंड यू कैन सी इट हेयर, दिस वॉल्व F इज ऑल्सो ओपन। मतलब कहने का ये है कि इस टाइम पे जो सिचुएशन हमें शो की गई है इस डायग्राम में, उसमें स्नो चैम्बर नंबर 2 में तो लिक्विड रेफ्रिजरेंट बन रहा है, जबकि स्नो चैम्बर 1 में ऑलरेडी लिक्विड रेफ्रिजरेंट CO2 पहले से था, जो पिछली साइकिल में प्रोड्यूस हुआ था। उसको यहाँ पे इस स्नो चैम्बर में हम 6 बार से 1.01325 बार पे प्रेशर में रिड्यूस कर रहे हैं। तो इसको प्रेशर में रिड्यूस करने से क्या होगा, स्नो चैम्बर नंबर 1 में ऑटोमेटिकली जब प्रेशर जो होगा 6 से 1 बार पे आएगा, तो जो CO2 होगी वो क्या होगा, आपको पता है, जैसे ही 5.18 बार की लिमिट से नीचे जाएगी CO2, उसका जो है जो ट्रिपल पॉइंट लाइन है उससे नीचे चली जाएगी। ट्रिपल पॉइंट लाइन से नीचे जाने की वजह से नाउ द CO2 विल बी एग्जिस्टिंग इन स्नो चैम्बर 1 in two phases. One will be the solid phase and other will be the gaseous phase. तो जो यहाँ पे इस स्नो चैम्बर में गैस बनेगी CO2 की, वो क्योंकि वॉल्व F ओपन है, यहाँ से सीधा यहाँ पे जाएगी 13 पे, और जो भी सॉलिड कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड यहाँ पे प्रोड्यूस हुई है स्नो चैम्बर 1 में, उसको तो हमने बाहर निकाल लिया। उसको इसमें एक नेचुरली है कि देयर हैज़ टू बी सम डोर विच वी कैन ओपन एंड we can take out the solid carbon dioxide. Okay, or there has to be some method by which we can take out the solid carbon dioxide, which is not shown here in the diagram. And simultaneously, what more is not shown here in the diagram is that how the pressure in snow chamber 1 reduces from 6 bar to 1 bar actually. So it is not clear here also. In the book also it's not clear, but actually if we have to reduce the pressure, we will have to uh, uh, keep this liquid in a larger volume actually. If the volume will increase, automatically the pressure will reduce to 1 bar. So I also really don't have the idea how this pressure has been reduced from 6 bar to 1 bar in this snow chamber 1 actually. Okay, so but it is somehow it has been shown that when this valve is open and this compressor number 1 means F is open and compressor 1 is running, the pressure here in the snow chamber 1 reduces from 6 bar to 1 bar. Okay, it's not clear to means it's not clear how they are reducing pressure, because for reducing the pressure we had a we either use a expansion valve or some other device, or otherwise we will have to increase the volume of a space. If we uh, give the larger volume to a particular gas, then its pressure will reduce. So the pressure reduces here, and whatever is the gas or the CO2 refrigerant which is generated at point number 1 here, okay, because this valve F is open, I will change the color. Because this valve F is open, so it is being sucked here by the compressor. Now whatever was the solid carbon dioxide which is generated here, okay, that is taken out. So suppose if I say this amount is m kgs, so what I will have to do, because m kgs of CO2 has been removed, so at point number 4 this is actually you can say the CO2 which is available at ambient temperature and pressure. So I will add same amount of the CO2 at point number 14, so that the total refrigerant or the CO2 gas at point number 1 is equal to what it is to be circulated in the system. Okay, is it clear? If it is clear, it's okay, otherwise I can explain it once again. Yes, tell me.
Clear, sir.
Okay, now what I will do, I will go to the next slide, and just a minute. Now I would like to explain you the second part of it. Now till now we were discussing about that this is open and this is closed. Now let us see the other thing. Now suppose this is open and this is closed. Okay, now we had the liquid refrigerant, liquid CO2 at 6 bar here. Now it is entering, it is coming here. It finds that this valve A is closed, so it goes to valve number B. So what will happen in the B here, because the pressure is 20 bar here, after it passes through this expansion valve, the pressure will be reduced to 6 bar. So in the previous cycle, this was at a pressure of 1.01325 bar. Now, because now it is the liquid refrigerant, so liquid will be generated here at 6 bar. Whereas in the previous cycle, in this snow chamber, we have generated the liquid. So here what will happen? Here the pressure will be reduced from 6 bar to 1 bar. Okay, and what will happen? This valve C will be closed, valve F will be closed, valve E will be open, valve D will be open. Now it is open actually. Okay, so in this no chamber number 1, the CO2 is converted from 20 bar to 6 bar. So now we have the liquid plus vapor here of CO2, whereas in this no chamber, because the liquid was already stored here, now because its pressure is being changed from 6 bar to 1 bar, so here we will get solid plus vapor. And what will happen to the vapor? Let us see whether the vapor which is generated here goes to the uh, compressor number 1 or not. So let us see. I told you now this valve C is closed, valve D is open. So whatever the vapor is available to us, it will follow this particular path. Okay, this particular path. This is already closed, so it will go here. So whatever is the vapor CO2, that will be going to the compressor number 1, and here we will be adding the uh, mass of the CO2 which equivalent to the solid carbon dioxide which has been generated in the snow chamber number 2, because we have removed it from there now. So here we will add vapor CO2 or CO2 gas actually, not vapor, at ambient pressure and temperature. So it is ambient pressure and ambient temperature CO2, and once again the process will take place. Now let us see the other snow chamber 1. What is happening here? The vapor CO2 which is generated here in the snow chamber number 1 now, because now valve E is open, it will follow this path, vapor, it will go from here. So this line is actually here. Okay, the arrow is in the opposite direction, whatever has been shown in the diagram. It will follow this path, and this is at 6 bar, this vapor is at 6 bar. It will follow this path, and here at point number 10 you have the CO2 gas, and here also at point number 3 you have the CO2 gas which is at 6 bar. Both these gases CO2 which are at 6 bar will mix here, and at point number 4 we will get the means both will be mixing, and then it will be going to the high pressure compressor here. So this is how this system works actually. So I have explained you. Now I would like to show you the diagram also, how we are going to sketch the pH diagram for this particular cycle. So any questions till now? Okay, so if it is clear, let us move to the diagram which is shown here. So now I am just reading the schematic diagram of the system using pressure snow chamber method, and ammonia in the cascade circuit is shown in figure 5.12. I have explained you about this figure. The condensing pressure of CO2 is generally kept 15 to 20 bar. So I have already told you that the pressure here will be 20 bar. Okay, here I have considered 6 bar, and here the pressure is 20 bar, or between 20 to 50 to 15 to 20 bar. The pH diagram of the CO2 circuit is shown in figure 5.13. So let us once again try to compare the schematic diagram with the pH diagram. So let us start from point number 1 here. So at point number 1, here we were having the vapor of the CO2. This is saturated vapor. Okay, saturated vapor of CO2. And here we have the CO2 gas at point number 14. Okay, so you can see here, this is the makeup CO2, and at point number 13, it is the saturated vapor of CO2. When these will mix, we will get state point number 1, and this state point number 1 is this superheated CO2 vapor. Now between 1 to 2, you can see here in the low pressure compressor, the refrigerant is compressed up to point number 2. So this is the compression process. This has been shown as isentropic compression. Entropy is constant. Then 2 to 3, the heat is being rejected to the surroundings. So you can see here during this process, it is Q2 to 3 which has been rejected to the surrounding. Then if you see this particular point number 7, let us focus on point number 7 now before we proceed for the 7. 7 is here. We have considered that the valve A is open and here the expansion takes place up to point number 8. So the pressure here is 6 bar. So you can see here, this is point number 7 to 8. The expansion takes place up to a pressure of 6 bar here. Okay. And this 8 has is a combination of liquid plus vapor. So here we have liquid plus vapor. So vapor is present at point number 10, whereas the liquid is present at point number 9. So 9 is shown within the snow chamber number 2 because the liquid will remain there, whereas the vapor will rise up and reach up to this particular point. So I hope this part is clear. So now this is at point number 10, it is the saturated vapor of CO2. So you can see here, this is point number 10, this is point number 3. So 3 and 10 will mix with each other, and then this refrigerant at point number 4. Here is point number 4. This is this particular point. At point number 4, it will enter into the high pressure compressor number 2 and it will be compressed up to point number 5. Is it clear? From 5 to 6, what is happening? 5 to 6, it is the heat rejection to the surrounding. So 5 to 6 is Q5 to 6. This heat is being transferred because at point number 5, the temperature is higher than the surrounding temperature. So we are here at point number 6 now. Okay, just a minute. I will have to start the charging of my laptop. Just wait for a minute. Okay, so we were at point number 6. Now what is happening at point number 6? At point number 6, this is the point number 6. Point number 6 is here. The superheated CO2, or you can call it as a CO2 gas also, at a pressure of 20 bar is entering into the cascade condenser. So in this pH diagram, the ammonia circuit is not shown. So I am going to draw that. So you can say that this part is this is the curve for the ammonia. So we will have to draw its cycle also. So this is the, you can say, so this is the temperature of the ammonia in the evaporator. So you can call this temperature as TE for the ammonia circuit. Okay, and you can see that this temperature is lower than the condenser temperature or the temperature at point number 7. Okay, so at point number 7, whatever is the temperature existing, the temperature in the ammonia evaporator is lower than that. So what will happen? What will happen is the heat transfer will take place from the CO2 gas to the ammonia here. Okay, and ammonia will get converted to the vapor. This is the vapor point. I will change the color. See, at this particular point, this is the ammonia curve. So at this particular point, this is actually point number A. The ammonia will convert to the vapor refrigerant, and then it is compressed up to point number B here. From B to C up to this particular point, the condensation will take place, and from here this is the expansion of the ammonia in the expansion wall, and this is point number D. So this is how the ammonia cycle will take place. Now we are at point number 7. Now what has happened in the up to from between 6 and 7? In the 6 and 7, the liquid, the saturated vapor, no, at point number 6, the CO2 is in the superheated phase, or say CO2 gas. It is condensed up to point number 7. So I hope this is clear to you. Now I will explain you about the analysis of the cycle. Once again, see this diagram. So first of all, we are considering that the system is working in the steady state. Now, first of all, we would like to go for the mass balance of the system. So you see at point number 7, okay, at point number 7, the expansion takes place up to point number 8, and at point number 8 and 7, the mass is same, but this 8 is liquid plus vapor, and this 8, there is some part of the liquid at 8 and some part of the vapor. So this is the part of the liquid and this is the part of the vapor. So we can say that M7 is equal to M8, okay, and that should be equal to M9, this is the liquid, and M10, which is the vapor here. I hope this is clear. And then at point number 9, the expansion takes place up to point number 11, and at this particular point, what is happening? The mass at 9 and 11 will remain same, but at 11 we have solid plus vapor. So solid will be at point number 12 and vapor will be at point number 13. So we can say 9 is equal to 11, 9 is equal to 11, and that should be equal to M12 plus M13. What is M12? M12 is the solid CO2, whereas M13 is the vapor CO2. So this is the dry ice, and this is basically the yield that we are getting from this particular cycle actually, or from this particular system. Now this we have already discussed. From the above two relations, what can we say? We can say that M7, where is the M7? M7 is here. What was M7 equal to? M7 was equal to M9 plus M10. And what is M9? M9 is equal to M12 plus M13. So we can replace this M9 by M12 plus M13. So we say that M7 is equal to M10, which is here, and M12 plus M13 has replaced M9 actually. So this is the final mass balance that we can write. Now for the calculation of the enthalpies, because when we have to do the calculation part also, we need to calculate the enthalpies also. So we need to write the energy balance for this cycle also. So because what you can consider here is 7, 10, 12 and 13. See, these are certain points which are basically, if you refer to this line actually here, this is a sort of control volume. So what is entering here? This is the point which is entering. 10 is leaving, then 13 is leaving here, and what are the other points? It is point number 12. Where is point number 12? Okay, 12 is within it here. Okay, because at point number 12 we are taking out the solid carbon dioxide. Okay, so naturally you can see it now. So we have point number 7 which is entering, then here 10 is leaving, here 13 is leaving, and 12 is leaving. So these are the 3 points which are leaving. So we can directly write the energy balance for this particular case, that M7H7 should be equal to, this is the energy entering into this control volume here, and what is the energy which is leaving? It is M10 into H10 at this particular point. Then we can consider this solid carbon dioxide which we are taking out from the snow chamber, that should be equal to M12 into H12, and at point number 13 it is the vapor refrigerant which is going out, so it should be equal to M13 into H13. So that is how we can calculate apply the energy balance. Or directly, if we wanted from this particular equation, which is the mass balance equation, we can multiply each term by the corresponding enthalpy. So you can see I can have written M7H7, M10H10, M12H12, M13H13. Now, M12 represents the yield of the dry ice, which can be considered as specified. The mass of the makeup CO2, M14, is also equal to M12. I have already told you. See, here we are withdrawing the mass M12, which is the solid CO2. Okay, and whatever is this M12, the same amount of the mass should be equal to M14 also. So M12 and M14 are equal. The three unknowns M7, M10 and M13 in two equations can be easily found by solving these equations together with the relation of the dryness at 11. So what is this relation? I think you can try to find out this relation, but it's quite easy. If you see it here, what do we have? We have, this is the solid carbon dioxide, and here we have the vapor. So I can always say that I can write M12 plus M13. That should be equal to M11. Now, what does M11 comprise of? M11 comprises of, it is X11 into, X11 is the vapor part. Okay, X11 into M11 plus 1 minus X11, and that should be equal to M11. I think further when you will solve it by putting M11 as M12 plus 13, you will be able to get this particular equation. You can try it actually. Okay. So this is how you can get it. So yes. So basically this is what I wanted to explain you today. If you have any questions, you can ask me. Any questions?
No, sir.
Okay.